Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Here we go! Oh! Oh no! Oh my god! No way! Oh! It's Saber Oh, look at these fights! Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the show where I go and find rumors, I go find stories that interest me, that I hope interest you guys. Stories that I think, you guys are going to enjoy, stories that possibly I enjoy, and I just want to talk about with you guys and give you my thoughts on these stories and possibly some rumors that I think are true and might not be true. And, since, and with that all out of the way, guys, make sure you comment on the video. Go press this little subscribe button. Press the button. It's going to be right here. Go press that subscribe button. And, let's jump into our first topic today. We got a few topics to talk about today. We got 5 topics, actually, to talk about today. And the first one is this. Star Wars. Star Wars, I have a very much complicated relationship with Star Wars, At times, I fall in love with Star Wars, and other times, I just want to bite my head off because I have a feeling they have no idea what they're trying to do. But we got this Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming. Technically, Mandalorian Season 4. But they're making a movie, which it was cool. It's cool. I've been saying for years, Star Wars should be seen on the big screen. Star Wars is a big screen property, not a small screen property. I love the shows, but for Star Wars, movies is where they're at. And, according to Giancarlo Esposito, there might be a bigger plan for this movie than we originally thought. According to comicbookmovie.com, The Mandalorian and Grogu may be part of a much bigger plan, according to Moff Gideon actor Giancarlo Esposito. Now, this was essentially, this is what I thought it was, there's been many rumors, Star Wars always has trouble making movies. This seems like the first movie that will be coming out because it seems like that Rey movie is dead in the water already, which it's not surprising because Kathleen Kennedy likes to announce movies and then just not do anything with them. But the sense that Giancarlo is basically saying, is that they're trying to make a new trilogy with the start of this Mandalorian movie. We've had The Mandalorian going for 3 seasons, He's basically saying, like, hey, this is going to be part of a new trilogy, We're going to have this Mandalorian movie, then we're probably going to have, maybe, an Ahsoka movie, and then maybe going to end it with a big climactic battle with all these personalities, all these characters coming together to defeat a single threat. And of course, we have speculated that threat is Thrawn. The big bad, that we saw in Ahsoka, who's out there trying to do something right now. What are my thoughts, on this? I think Mandalorian's great. I think Mandalorian is great. For me, the only other great thing they've done outside Mandalorian since The Rise of Skywalker has been Andor. I think everything else has missed. Boba Fett missed for me. Except for that one Mandalorian episode, which is funny because the show was about Boba Fett and the best episode was about the Mandalorian. Ahsoka started off strong in my opinion. My favorite episode of that show was the flashback episode to the Clone Wars. But overall, a miss. Acolyte, total miss. So we don't need to talk about Acolyte. You can go watch my reactions. Yeah. Star Wars has had a lot of misses. A lot of misses. And, Mandalorian Season 3 was a miss in my opinion too. I felt like they really dropped the ball with that too. So the thing is, can they still push out a great movie? Say whatever you want about the sequel trilogy. I'm someone who will stand by saying The Force Awakens was a great movie. I still think Force Awakens was a great movie. I think, I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I did not enjoy Rise of Skywalker. And, I'm saying that, I'm going to get a lot of heat from you Star Wars, cultists out there who'll be like, what are you talking about? That sequel trilogy, it shouldn't even exist. I'm like, you got to give the benefit of the doubt, When we think about sequel trilogy, we all think Rise of Skywalker. We think how terrible it is. But if we go to, The Force Awakens, most people who saw that when it came out loved it. Loved that movie. Sure, there was a lot of member berries in there. Sure, you could say, oh, The Force Awakens is just a copy of A New Hope. It was still a great movie. A movie that I very much enjoyed. And I've always been saying, Star Wars belongs on the big screen. For some reason, at Lucasfilm, they have had trouble producing a movie since The Rise of Skywalker. Because they feel like no one's going to see it. This is Star Wars. I feel like they have now conditioned the audience to think Star Wars is supposed to be watched on Disney Plus. not to the theaters. And that's what I don't like. See, I'm a fan of Disney Plus. I'm a fan of all Disney Plus stuff. But, like, what I've been kind of upset about, even with Marvel, that they're starting to make their projects be little screen. A Star Wars movie and Marvel movie used to be a cinematic event. Whenever one of those come out, you had to be there day one to see it because it was going to be an event with not just you, but with the people around you in the theater. With Disney Plus, I feel like they've taken away that magic a little bit. I'm not saying I don't like Disney Plus. I'm not saying I like the Disney Plus series. I love the series, that they do. I think there's some really good ones, but there's a lot of bad series. It's just with these two franchises, I think of Star Wars, I think like it was made for the big screen. Marvel, made for the big screen. But, they're doing what they have. I really am hoping for great things in the Mandalorian And Grogu. You got a great director, in my opinion, in Jon Favreau, who is probably a legacy director over there at Disney by now. The thing is, can this movie do well? The question is, that's the question. Can the movie do well? Can the movie do well? Could it produce results like we know Star Wars can produce in the future? Say what you want about the last few Star Wars movies. Those movies all made $1 billion. The question is, can this movie come back? Will people want to go see The Mandalorian, which I think they will? Can it make $1 billion, Can this be entertaining? Do they really have a great story to end off this chapter for The Mandalorian? Leave your comments down below if you're excited about this. Do you think Star Wars will end up on a high note? And do you think this movie might be part of a bigger step in the Star Wars universe? Leave your comments down below. Let's move on to our next topic here. Nova. You guys already know. I've talked about Nova so many times, how I am so excited to see him come to the big screen or small screen, which seems like he's going to be in the small screen, which, by the way, disappoints me a little bit. I really wanted to see Nova in a movie. I feel like Nova is a character you can definitely make a freaking trilogy about, but no. They're like, oh, people don't know Nova, let's make a Disney Plus. Okay, look out of the way. But we have had Nova characters appear before, and that was in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. With John C. Reilly and Glenn Close. Very, very great actors in my opinion. One, a very, very funny actor. Another, one of the best actors of our generation in Glenn Close. Very, very Oscar-nominated Glenn Close. Appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. We have not seen them since. Well, according to a new rumor, they might be coming back. According to thecomicbookmovie.com, Nova, Glenn Close, and John C. Reilly, rumored to reprise GOTG, Guardians of the Galaxy, roles for Disney Plus series. Now, this is kind of a no-brainer, We left off, this is, I feel like, going to pick up either before Xandar went kablooey or after. Personally, I kind of wanted to pick up after Xandar went kablooey. And the characters, these people played. John C. Reilly, his character was pretty important in the comics. John C. Reilly's character, I think it's Roman Day, in the comics, his character gives Richard Rider his helmet, I think his powers, to come be a Nova, and, of course, dies. Kind of like a Green Lantern origin for Richard Rider. And then you have Nova Prime. In most iterations, Richard Rider does become Nova Prime, so I kind of see, Nova Prime, in a sense, being kind of a teacher, kind of being, the general who believes Richard Rider can be the greatest Nova. And this series is going to be about Richard Rider. I know a lot of you want to see Sam Alexander. But my thing is, Richard Rider, you gotta do Richard Rider first. Because you do Richard Rider first, you can set up Sam Alexander later. To me, Sam Alexander is the Miles Morales to Richard Rider. While Richard Rider is Peter Parker, Sam Alexander is Miles Morales. And I love both the characters. But in my opinion, Richard Rider is such a cool character. In my opinion, I feel like he's a little bit like the Luke Skywalker. He's the chosen Nova. He's the chosen entity to become Nova, to harness the Nova Force to defend the universe. I've already had ideas for villains you can set up. You can do villains like Tetrax. You can do villains like Thane, the son of Thanos. Villains like Death, the bride of Thanos. You could do, there's so many other great cosmic villains in the Guardians of the Galaxy saga, in the Nova universe that you can do, because Nova actually is, at many points in the comics, a Guardian of the Galaxy. He's even had relationships with Gamora. There was this whole comic run about him and Gamora. You know, there's some really, really cool stuff you can do with Richard Rider. And I've been always wanting to go back to the Nova Force. Because it's such an interesting thing. You know, what James Gunn introduced the Nova Force, I'm like, oh, you have such a cool opportunity to introduce Richard Rider. They've done nothing with it. Like, at least in What If, we got a little taste of the Nova Corps, which was really nice for me, because I'm such a fan of the Nova Corps. Because I think they're such an interesting group of people. In my opinion, they are the Green Lanterns of the Marvel Universe. They are cosmic protectors of the universe. Cosmic protectors of Xandar. And Richard Rider is that guy. And according, you know, also, they're saying that they might both have Rider and Sam Alexander in this show. You know, which would cool, like maybe they're doing a little buddy cop film with them. But personally, I want a story about Richard Rider first, then going to Miles Morales. But what do you guys think? According to a new rumor, Glenn Close and John C. Reilly are coming back for the Nova Disney Plus series. I think this is great. I'm so happy we're getting more news on this Nova series. Leave your comments down below, and let's move on to our second topic here today. That is this. James Gunn's DC universe. You know, I've been a bit hesitant on this universe so far. I think, you know, Superman, I think it's going to be, if it's good, it'll be a success. I'm excited for the new Batman film, Brave and the Bold. Even Lanterns is getting me very excited. But James Gunn announced something yesterday, which I have some thoughts on. And this is according to Deadline. This is what happened. The Robin's origin story, dynamic duo in the works with DC Studios, the Warner Brothers PA, and 6 and Idaho movie to be made with puppetry animation. Now, so basically, this is going to be an origin story about Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, two of my favorite Robins. One becomes Red Hood, one becomes Nightwing. My thoughts on this. I think this is a terrible idea. I'm saying it. It's a terrible idea. First off, this is going to be a puppeteer animation. There aren't a lot of puppeteer animation. The best one I can think of is what Travis and I did with Kubo and the Two Strings. Overall, I'm not a fan of that type of animation. This is being by the same studio who did James and Giant Peach. And I looked at images of that, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Of course, you know, you just had Guillermo del Toro win an Oscar for his puppeteer Pinocchio movie. Another thing is, I love Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. But, do they really need a movie? Like, do we really need to do a full movie on these two characters? I get it, they're part of the Bat family. You know, the Bat family's super popular. But I don't think anyone's been asking for this. Personally, I'm not asking for a Robin's origin story. I just want to know what the hell is going on with Batman in the DC Universe. This is a problem in my opinion. James Gunn keeps announcing stuff. And I love that he's announcing stuff. But there is a difference between announcing and then actually putting cameras in front of things. There is only 2 shows that have cameras in front of them right now. That is Superman, which just finished, and then Peacemaker Season 2. I think that they need to stop announcing stuff because their universe has not come out yet, and they keep announcing stuff. That's getting me less excited. Just last week, we got confirmed. Deathstroke and Bane are coming. Okay, that's great. Where are they fitting in? Like, what? The thing is, his universe seems so out of place right now, guys. It seems so out of place with this DC universe, where we got Superman, we got The Authority, we got Booster Gold, you know. James Gunn, I love that you are passionate about this project, but, you know, there's one thing to be passionate, and then there's also making good stuff. Look at Marvel. Marvel probably was really passionate about doing certain characters, you know, but they knew in order to establish their universe, they need to get excited. They need to introduce essential characters to their universe so they can do Avengers movies. So they can introduce Guardians of the Galaxy. Introduce that cosmic element. I feel like James Gunn is nitpicking his favorite characters right now. Just like, give him that, give him that, give him that. This does not make me excited. It does not make me excited that we're getting a dynamic duo movie with Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Even though I love those characters. I do believe this is a massive mistake. That doesn't mean that it's going to be good. It could be like the greatest animated movie of all time. But that doesn't mean crap if people aren't going to go see your movie. Look at Transformers 1. Transformers 1 was literally one of the best animated movies I think of this year. one of the best movies of this year, in my opinion. But still, no one is seeing it. It's going to be in its third week and it hasn't made $100 million yet. No one is seeing that. With all of that coming out, do they really think people are going to go see an animation that it's not really used nowadays? Really, like, we don't see a lot of puppeteered movies that are very, very good, And do people really care about an origin story of the Robins when the audiences just remember the Robin with the bat nips? Yes, they remember that Robin. They remember that Robin. Last time we saw Robin in a movie was those original Batman movies back in, like, the 80s. Which, hey, some of them are good. Some of those I watched in my childhood. But, Robin is a character that I think should be a mainstay character should have his own franchise. And that Robin, in my opinion, is Dick Grayson. I got ecstatic when James Gunn announced Batman Brave and the Bold with Damian Wayne. Because that means, okay, we're already going to have Nightwing. We're already going to have Red Hood. We're going to have Tim Drake. We're going to have Barbara Gordon. We're going to have the Bat Family. But announcing this, it seems like you're taking a step back. It's like, okay, we're going to have Damian Wayne and Robin, but then we're going to do this also movie. Well, no, it's not going to be Damian Wayne. It's going to be Dick Grayson and Jason Todd because everyone in the world knows who those characters are. You got to remember, the general audience doesn't know most of the characters we do, They don't know characters like Boostergo. They don't know characters like the Authority, I felt like if they did this in a later date, if the DCU was up and running and it was successful, this would be great to announce right now. But I don't. But guys, what do you think? Do you think this movie will be good for DC Studios? Or do you think this is kind of a miss for them? Personally, I think this is a mistake. I don't think they should be making this movie at all. I am not excited for it whatsoever. Leave your comments down below. And let's move on to our fourth topic here today. Yes, not our last topic, our fourth topic. We got quite the topics here today, guys. Now it's this. Andrew Garfield, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man to ever be portrayed in film. Of course, most of you will say, no, Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man. We all have our favorite Spider-Man. For me, that is Andrew Garfield, because of the Spider-Man he portrays is probably one of my favorite iterations of the Spider-Man in the comics. And that one is the Ultimate Spider-Man run. I feel like when I think of Ultimate Spider-Man, I go immediately to Andrew Garfield, which basically that character was based on those comics. If you look at the speech Uncle Ben makes in that comic book series and in that movie, it is basically the same type of Spider-Man. And we loved him in No Way Home. Probably the best thing about No Way Home was Andrew Garfield getting his redemption arc, for not saving Gwen. And I just love the way he plays Peter Parker, where, Peter Parker, he's a nerd, but, he's also got these really cool qualities, about him. He's not just some nerd with glasses, he's a guy who just had a rough life. Peter Parker's a guy who's had a rough life. But, according to comicbookmovie.com, Andrew Garfield might come back. This is what they had to say. Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield confirms he'll return as Peter Parker if Marvel can deliver a great concept. So, basically he's saying, I'll go play Spider-Man again, if you got a good idea. I know a lot of us want the Amazing Spider-Man free. A lot of us want that. Personally, I would love Sony to just finish his story, just one final movie to tell the final chapter in his story, Of course, it's probably going to appear in Secret Wars, probably maybe even Doomsday. I think it would be great if he can come back, I would love it, but, it could be that, he feels like his time's over, He's like, okay, they got a great script, I'll come back. But, personally, we don't need another one of his movies. I would love another Andrew Garfield movie, but we don't need it. We already have this other Spider-Man going around right now with Tom Holland. He's got his fourth movie coming, and I'm not saying you can't have two separate Spider-Man at one time. Look at DC. We got the Robert Pattinson Batman, then we're gonna have the DCU Batman. I think people are smart enough to differentiate which one's which. Which one is the James Gunn Batman, one is the Matt Reeves more grounded Batman. But if he comes back, I'll be excited. But what do you guys think? Andrew Garfield says he feels he will return if there is a great concept and a great script that he feels like he could really sink his teeth into. Leave your comments down below. Let's move on to our final topic here today, and that is this: the Batman. I love the Batman. I'm enjoying the Penguin too. The Penguin's great right now. But we've all been wondering, Batman, when is he coming? And we got this new DC Universe James Gunn. We don't have our Batman yet. But according to a new report, David Zaslav might be pushing to combine those two universes. According to him, on comicbookmovie.com, the Batman, Robert Pattinson, could become DCU's Dark Knight as David Zaslav pushes for more Batman. This is what I have to say about this. What the hell are you doing, David Zaslav? This is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. You know, I get you want Batman. I get you want to have Batman. Like, oh, we love the Batman. Penguin's doing great. I think including Robert Pattinson in the DCU is the biggest mistake you can make. This is reminding me of a Warner Brothers who made the DCU. The last one, the DCEU, where it's like we want to push our agenda. We want to push, our DC universe. Not the filmmaker, not the studio heads, our idea. We want, a Guardians of the Galaxy type story with Suicide Squad. We want to make a Birds of Prey movie because, everyone loves Harley Quinn. Keep them separate, please. This is according to Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder is reporting on this, saying that this might happen. I personally think this is the biggest mistake you can make for a franchise because, Robert Pattinson is not old enough to have a son in Damian Wayne. If you put like a Dick Grayson there, his Batman and Robert Pattinson will be the same age. Which means you have to scrap probably that whole Batman the Brave and Bold idea, which I think is very dumb. I think let Matt Reeves keep doing what he's doing without having the restrictions of a DC universe. You look at the universe of the Batman. That doesn't really seem like a superhero universe. Even the Penguin, it's a grounded universe with a vigilante called Batman. It's not a story where you have people like Superman or Wonder Woman flying around. That's going to be in James Gunn's universe. Have James Gunn's Batman exist in that type of fantastical world. This Batman is grounded in reality, just kind of like Chris Nolan's was. I think combining these would be a huge mistake. I think this would be going back to the part where DC would be hamstrung by other people telling them what to do, what James Gunn wants to do. And honestly, I don't think James Gunn wants to do this. I think David Zaslav, I know you want Batman. Batman's always been popular. But let him do his own thing. Let Matt Reeves do his own thing. And that's just my thoughts on it, guys. And what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good idea or a terrible idea for David Zaslav in DC? But guys, that's it on this episode of Let's Talk About It. Leave your comments down below, like the video, comment the video, and go check out all our other content on our channel. And I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.